Good day, everybody, and welcome to the Bible in a Year 2021. And we are currently working on day 144. And today we're going to hear some of David's Psalms, Psalm 108, 109, and 110. So as we open up with 108, we see the theme of David's life here in verses 3-4. I will give thanks to you, Lord, among all the peoples. I will make music to you among the nations, because your faithful love is higher than heaven. Your faithfulness reaches the clouds. And we've talked about this before, that this is the big thing for David. The whole reason he relied on Yahweh and everything is because of that faithful love, because when Yahweh promised something, David found him to be faithful. And that's what he leaned into, is that faithfulness. And David's only desire was to worship. His desire was that his life would glorify Yahweh. And so this is his theme. Wonder where we would measure on that scale. Is our life about Yahweh, or is our life about trying to use Yahweh to make our life a little more comfortable? David did not have a comfortable life, but it was definitely a life that glorified Yahweh. And we see in this that David had some insecurities, but his insecurities had to do with being as imperfect as he was, and not being where we are in our relationship with Father. We're secure in our relationship only because it doesn't rely upon us. It relies upon Jesus, and Jesus did all the work. So the relationship isn't rely upon us. Growing in that relationship, becoming mature in that relationship, we have to put the time into that, hanging out, in the Spirit, hanging out, getting to know Dad, growing, understanding his heart, living a life that reflects on what he desires from us. But we won't find perfection in that because it is a growing, an ongoing thing that is happening. And unfortunately, sometimes we need to learn from mistakes in order to get there. But still, we have this thing that Jesus has covered us. David wasn't in that place. So there was some insecurity in him, that he was always afraid of being rejected because of his actions. And so in verse 11, we read, "But you have rejected us, God, haven't you? You, God, no longer accompany our armies." So this was his fear and his concern all the time. In verse 13, the same thing with God. He continues, though, with God we will triumph. God is the one who will trample our adversaries. So this is what David's concern was, that if for some reason that they rejected Yahweh, that they would face constant defeat. Their enemy would swallow them up. And David understood that the presence of the Lord was everything, that relationship, pursuing the righteous relationship, was everything. So this is how David lived his life. But we have to wonder, David sees himself as a man of peace, and he was surrounded by men of violence. He had to be, because David was the one who wrestled for the peace of Israel. He took on the enemy. He took on many enemies. He fought many battles, and he had to be surrounded by mighty men. He had his mighty men, and he needed these. But these weren't the upper class sort of guys. And so we read this here: hateful words surround me. They attack me for no reason. Instead of returning my love, they accuse me, but I am at prayer. They repay me evil for good, hatred in return for my love. And you just kind of get the sense that David felt he was alone in all of this. Like, who could he trust? Who could he lean on? Like, it seemed like such a lonely thing for him, because of where he was in his relationship with Yahweh, which was ahead of its time. Really, when we stop and consider it, there's no one who had a relationship like he did. And we see, he was anointed for a task, and David was faithful in that task. and he carried it out in the way that Yahweh would want it carried out. So we read here in verses 15 to 16, let them be before the Lord always, and let God eliminate the very memory of them from the land, speaking of the enemy. All because this person didn't remember to demonstrate faithful love, but chased after the poor and needy, even the brokenhearted, with deadly intent. David never forgot in his position that as king, he had the responsibility to look after the poor. He had the responsibility to look after the widow, to look after the immigrants, to defend them, to protect them. And those who failed to do that were considered enemies of Yahweh. David's heart beat for the glory of the Lord. That's really the best way that we can describe him. When we read this, help me, Lord my God, save me according to your faithful love, and let them know that this is by your hand, that you have done it, Lord. Yeah, and David wanted to be rescued, but he didn't want it to come across like he rescued himself. He wanted the whole world to know that this was Yahweh that was rescuing him, that Yahweh would get all the credit for it. And then we have Psalm 110, which is interesting because we discover that David had quite a bit of prophetic in him, and that's hard not to have when you hang out and spend so much time with Yahweh. And so we see things here that David, or that Jesus will later call upon, but just appreciate it in for this moment where he says, what the Lord says to my master, what Yahweh says to my master, right here, sit here right beside me until I make your enemies a footstool for your enemy. So David isn't talking about himself. He's talking about someone who is over him. That really confused a lot of people. And we see your people stand ready on your day of battle in a holy grandeur from the dawn's womb fight. Your youthful strength is like the dew itself. So here we see that David had the prophetic vision of the returning Lord, of the returning King, of the one who would come in that might and would bring the world into submission, because enough is enough. And that's what we continue to read here in verses 4 and 5. The Lord has sworn a solemn pledge and won't change his mind. You are a priest forever in line with Melchizedek. My master, by your strong hand, God has crushed kings on his day of wrath. So David had some foreknowledge of what the end was going to look like. Unfortunately, this is what people were expecting when the Messiah came at first, but the Messiah had to come as a suffering servant, and he returns as a victorious king. And that has led to some confusion among the Jews. So there you go. Wasn't long today. I just wanted to go through those and share that with you. And we see what an incredible heart David had. And I pray that we would understand that we get to go even further than he did. We are possessed by the Holy Spirit. We are in oneness with our Father and with our King. And we need to learn how to walk in this. And we're going to get there. We're getting there. We're maturing. We're growing. So thank you for being with me today. Be encouraged in all these things. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. God bless.